Good morning. How are we? Good. Something a little bit different today. I was asked a couple of questions about the guitars that I use. They mainly seem to be signature models. They are. I'm a sucker for a good signature model. So I'm going to take 5 guitars today and show you them in no particular order. There's no like out and out sort of favourite. And there's also going to be a little bit of a red herring in there as well. So technically it's 6 guitars and not 5, but we'll do that one last just to try and show you the balance of how you don't have to pay a fuck ton of money for a really good guitar. All right, so let's dive straight in and we'll do guitar number 1. Okay, so guitar number 1, this is the Fender Stratocaster made in Mexico. The Dave Murray Iron Maiden signature. You would have seen this in a couple of my videos. It does get used, quite a bit. Fantastic guitar, rosewood board with a maple back. Seymour Duncan pickups. The neck is like a C profile. It's the hot rails and the junior in the middle. Original Floyd Rose, Paloid scratch plate. Is made in Mexico. The thing with made in Mexico and made in USA, I don't really find that much difference, to be honest. It's going to be sort of minimal. Really good guitar. And new in England, that's probably going to cost you about, I don't know, 850 quid, something like that. Whatever that transfers to dollars. These are kind of getting a little bit thin on the ground as well. So if you can pick one up second hand, then I would do that because they are outstanding. That's guitar number 1. Okay, guitar number 2. Kind of needs no introduction really. The Mark Tremonti signature PRS. Now this is the SE model. The reason that I bought this one, the rosewood board and the bird inlays, is that the pickups had been changed to the USA version that Mark kind of designed himself, and this bridge is the wraparound that comes on the American. Now the finish on this is really, really good. I like the cutaway. It doesn't get used a lot, and it probably should, to be honest. It's a single cut mahogany body with a maple back and a rosewood board again. Let's just turn that round. And there's some great work that goes into how PRS, or Mr. Paul Reed Smith, constructs his guitars. And when I first got it, I wasn't a fan of the paint on the back of the neck, but you kind of learn to live with it. So one of these, they vary, to be honest, in price. So you could pick one of these up probably for about 500 British pounds. Second hand, you're probably looking at a lot less than that. I don't know why that is. They are an outstanding guitar. That's guitar number 2. Okay, guitar number 3. If you've watched any of my videos on YouTube and Instagram, you'll know that this gets played to death all of the time. Funny story with this. Okay, so this is the Jackson Adrian Smith signature model, another Iron Maiden guitar. This is actually made in Indonesia, and there's a USA version which will cost you, you know, a couple of grand and then some, which comes with the Super Distortion Damasio's in, and a couple of other bits and pieces that are kind of changed. But this one had the upgrades for the pickups to be changed to the Super Distortion and the Fender. It's the maple neck. Excuse my camera work and big fat thumb. So what's happened with this Indonesian one is, you see how grubby it is because it just gets played all the time. It's actually got the Super Distortion in the bridge and the Fender noiseless in the middle and the neck, and they are outstanding pickups. So in reality, you could throw a couple of grand at the USA, or you could get the cheaper Indonesian and kind of just throw a set of Super Distortions in it, and there you go. This is definitely one of the best guitars I've ever played. It's outstanding. I really, 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 really love this guitar so much. And so much so that the Floyd, I've kind of wore out the rubbers in the Floyd, so I need to replace them. So yeah, you should definitely get one of these. Look up the specs of the Indonesia, look up the specs of the USA, find the difference, and for God's sake, buy one of these guitars. They're amazing. Guitar number 4, kind of like the holy grail of signature guitars. So this is the Steve Vai gem from IBANEZ, the 70V SFG seafoam green, the longest running signature model of all time, I believe. Mr. Vai put his name to this IBANEZ a long time ago, and it's been running, you know, 25 years plus, I think. So this one is got the standard monkey grip in it, the Damasio's, the Floyd. The thing with this Floyd is, as well, is if we can just lay this down, do a little bit of shit camera work. The thing with this Floyd is it kind of flicks both ways. So it goes this way and it also goes that way for a little bit of the trilling that Mr. Vai is famous for. It really is. It's an outstanding guitar, very flexible. Now, you'd be mistaken to think that this kind of thing is just built for shred. It doesn't do anything else. It's a wanky fiddly widdly guitar. You would be very wrong. This guitar has served me well in the pub, pop, rock, wedding band scene for a very long time. One of the most underrated things is that single coil in the middle. That is everything Fender Strat. Just in that center position, you flick that single coil on and it's absolutely outstanding. Clear, crisp. You could have a USA Strat parked in your hand and nobody would ever know. Tree life inlay, Super Wizard neck. It is very thin, and again, this is made in Indonesia. And the quality control, there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. This is an outstanding guitar, and this was bought for me. And I love it. Absolutely love it. And again, they're kind of getting a little bit thin on the ground, these seafoam green ones now. So, you know, it might be time to possibly invest in another one. Or, you know, if Ibanez want to send me the new Woody Steve Vai IBANEZ gem, then they should probably do that. Highly unlikely. Okay, so at first glance you might think that you know what this is. So let me tell you before we get going. This is a version of David Gilmour's signature guitar. It's been slightly badly relicked. You know, it's been hammered and sanded, and it's not the most fantastic job. These pickups have been changed to a company called Dave Allen, and they do a signature set called Echoes, which is basically a direct sort of copy of Dave Gilmour's pickups. Now, when this is plugged in, which you'll hear in a minute, and we're going through the simulators in the Line 6 Helix, you'd be hard pressed to figure out that this is a really, really cheap, almost, you know, crappy-ish guitar. It's actually not. It's a really, really good guitar, and it's made by Harley Benton. You can buy these online from Tommen. It's got that old kind of Gilmour feel to it, real old stratty kind of feeling neck. Quality control was okay. In one of the other videos, when it first turned up, this first fret, or this last fret, was kind of raised slightly, and I solved that with a hammer, which upset a lot of the luthiers that watch the channel. And some relic into the back. Again, not a fantastic job, but I think it looks kind of badass, to be honest. So you can go on Tommen and find one of these. It's the Harley Benton ST57DG, and this will cost you 200 quid, 200 British pounds. It's not a lot of money for something that is that outstandingly good. You know, you set it up right, you put some 10 gauge strings on it, and you're in Gilmour territory. Obviously, if you're, you know, playing through a crappy amp with a shitty distortion pedal, you're going to be nowhere near, but that's where the Line 6 Helix comes in and helps. So if you're looking at this, you pretty much know what it is. All right, this is the Relic Stevie Ray Vaughan #1. It's seen a bazillion gigs, or has it? No, it hasn't. This was actually made by me. I bought this guitar online. It didn't look like that, obviously. It was a sunburst Strat shape, made by a company called Vintage, and Vintage do some outstandingly good guitars. I've used Vintage over the years for this, that and the other, and they're just brilliant guitars. Now, Trevor Wilkinson, who supplies the parts and the pickups, see them in there, he was working for Fender for a long time, kind of went out on his own, did his own thing. So basically what I did with this is kind of just banged it on a kitchen table and just went absolutely fucking bananas with a sander and a screwdriver, and, you know, kicked it around the street a little bit. And I wanted it to look rough. I didn't want it to be like one of those perfectly smooth relic-y ones that people lose their shit over. Didn't really do much to the back of the neck or the back of the guitar, just kind of gig wounds, if you like. And didn't sand the neck down, kind of just aged some stuff up here. And that's pretty much it. Now, I could have done a lot more, but I kind of just left it. So the story being is that when you hear this guitar, and again, it's plugged into the Line 6 Helix, it's plugged into a good system, you'd never know. Yes, it's great to go out and spend thousands of pounds on a SRV Fender custom shop, but if you can do it yourself, then why not? I mean, if we look at companies like Gibson at the minute, who are absolutely on the bones of their arse because for whatever reason, stuff is so violently overpriced, it's ridiculous. I would hope that other guitar companies will pay attention and stop overpricing shit that doesn't need to be overpriced. So the company's called Vintage. You can buy this very guitar undistressed and unbattered for about 150 quid, which again is not a lot of money. The pickups sound brilliant. If you go through any of my other videos on this page, you will see just how good it sounds.